really crude interface, but it's useful to get the point across what's going on here. I just set up this little my button class so that I can pass in the label for the button and the action to perform on the button in one place. So I didn't have to do that. So that's all he's doing down there. And then finally, the sample just says create the YTUye and put it on the screen. So let's take a look at how this guy works. We'll see that we have our little, here's an account YTUye up here, here's another account YTUye over here for account 1, account 2. I'm going to deposit $10 to the first account, deposit $10 to the second account, withdraw, withdraw. So it seems to be doing what we wanted it to do. So we're just kind of starting with a really simple model here and some basic operations, the deposit and withdraw. Any questions so far? So the next thing we're going to do is add on macro operations. A macro operation combines or is a composition of multiple other operations. So it could use primitives, it could use other macros. So just down in the diagram here, I have all these primitives in my model. This macro might use these two primitives. This macro might only use one. This one might use a macro as well as a primitive to do his operation. And this way you can build up more and more complex operations. This is sometimes a convenience. So maybe the model itself didn't provide extra functionality. But a lot of times what you're really trying to do is provide some kind of batching or transaction mechanism. So you're trying to group things and be able to capture the whole thing in a transaction. That's one of the places where a macro is very, very useful. You can say at the top of the macro, start my transaction, do whatever you need to do, and then end your transaction at the end of the macro. And the nice thing about using a macro for that is the caller doesn't have to worry about that. Let's say you want to do a bank transfer. The caller wouldn't have to remember, oh, I got to start a transaction, do the withdraw from one, do the deposit from the other, and then end the transaction.